Hi, my name is Christy Bowman, and I am doing my presentation on tax breaks offered by local and state government to attract new businesses. This is for Business 260 online with Miss Sandy Gann. Alright. Reasons why we give incentives, or the state and local bureaucrats give incentives. Traditionally, tax breaks are given to encourage economic development. A city with high levels of unemployment and poverty across many areas will often turn to development incentives as a manner of attracting businesses to generate new jobs. A city's phase of growth will have an impact on how an administrator decides on what kind of incentive to offer. A city that is under fiscal stress, facing revenue and budget deficits, and experiencing slow growth or no growth at all has its own incentives to attract businesses. The reason, a lot of reason why we encourage incentives is to increase job potential in an area, increase the revenue in that area. For example, Tampa, Florida would offer more of a large incentive rather than here in Eden, North Carolina. I know for a fact that we have some companies here in Eden that did get tax breaks or had incentives to move here. For example, Wal McLean out of Michigan City, Indiana, and they did get some kind of incentive or tax break to move here. And the reason, and the economy here has grown considerably because of that. Okay, who decides? The capabilities of local and state bureaucrats can dictate which options, if any, for cities to give. The size of the cities will have a lot to do with incentives that are offered. Again, just like what I talked about, depends upon the size of the city and actually, what the city has to offer. A small city might not have as much incentives or benefits to offer a company compared to a larger city that has a whole lot to offer a company. There also is some disadvantage of incentives. Companies commit to agreed upon incentives and then do not come through with their end of the deal. This can cost local and state government lots of money with no benefits. If, say for instance, a company is given 20 years without a tax break to increase the jobs in the area, and in 5 years that company goes belly up or does not put the 500 extra jobs in there, or however many jobs, then the incentives agreement was not met. Or if they give loans for supplies or whatever that company might need, or a certain area, and the company gets here and starts to build, and the company runs out of money or so forth, and they have to pull out, then that money that the city or state has put into that business is lost, and most of the time is not recovered. Some examples are: loans can be issued for the purchase of capital, supplies, and construction costs or equipment. Direct or subsidized loans can be given to private businesses based on the promise that a quota of jobs will be produced. The government also may provide potential businesses with free land, buildings, exemptions from local and state regulations, and other customized services for agreement to develop in Pacific areas. Businesses can receive tax incentive where a government-provided reduction in tax liability for a defined period without expectation of repayment. Businesses can also get a public utility rate break on things like water, electricity, and gas. These are some of the different incentives that companies can get. There's all kinds of incentives that I probably did not list, and it would be like specific to that area, what that particular business might be looking for to encourage them to move to this area or to expand in that area. So the incentives can range from a tax break to a loan to getting a discount on their electricity bill every month. So, it would probably be impossible to list every one that there is. And like we said before, there are some that the disadvantage of incentives, but then there's some agreements that without expectation of repayment. So it depends upon the state and local agreement with that business of how to repay it, or if it has to be repaid at all. Business morals. Believe it or not, there are some businesses out there that still have business morals. And a survey of executives in 118 internationally owned firms in North Carolina revealed that state incentives actually rank low among a list of factors. Businesses actually looked at labor force, transportation, quality of life, and overall business climate, which, is kind of rare nowadays. It's all with the economy downturn we've had, so usually it's all about the dollar and chasing the dollar. So it was good to see this actually in the research that I did, that they actually looked at the people and the quality of life before they decided to move to a certain area. So this was something really a good aspect that I found while I was doing my research. Some real life examples that actually has happened is Utah gave Micron Technology $200 million. Illinois gave Sears and Roebuck $240 million. New Mexico gave $1 billion to an $1 billion industrial revenue bond issued for Intel Corporation expansion of its semiconductor plant. Main Street Textiles in Fall River, Massachusetts was given a 20-year property tax break to build within the city a facility that would add 500 jobs to the local economy. This is something, we've talked about in the presentation, that the incentives could be different. You've got dollars, you've got revenue bonds, and you've got tax breaks. You've got 3 different ones right here within 4 companies. In conclusion, without all the tax breaks that are offered to businesses, we would not be where we are today in our economic climb. I know Eden, North Carolina would not be where it is today without some of the bigger businesses that we have, as far as Miller or Wall McLean, and I know Wall McLean received some tax breaks. Eden would not be as big or as economically strong as it would have been without those 2 companies. The economic trend here in Eden, North Carolina has gone back and forth with textiles in and out of the region. At one time we were a strong textile region, and now we've moved on to other industries to make sure that our economic revenue stays at an acceptable level. And this is my works cited page, where I got some of my research and history from to do my presentation with. And again, my name is Christy Bauman. My presentation on tax breaking incentives through local and state government for Business 260 online with Miss Sandy Gann. Thank you. Before my works cited page, that would have been where I would have put in a Q&A slide to questions and answers for in front of a group. So since this was online, I did not add that slide.